Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of FA2CA. My name is Inga M and I'll be giving you guys tips and advices on how to tackle your board exams. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank everyone that have subscribed to our channel, and if you haven't, please subscribe, and also please click on the notification button in order to be able to see part 3 of our video. Part 3 of our video will be bookkeeping revision with Sanelisiwe. The most important thing in preparing for your board exams is to be able to master your time management. Master your time management, because we know that most of people that are writing boards are either working full-time, studying full-time, or attending law school. So please guys, try by all means to prioritize your board exams as much as you have other things that require your attention, as much as you have other commitment. We know that you are employed, you want to do your work to the best of your ability, but remember, you are doing your work in order to be admitted as an attorney, and you equally need your board exams in order to be admitted as an attorney. So please make sure you prioritize your board exams. Paper 1. Paper 1 is court procedure. What will assist you in this paper is to divide your work. Always divide your work. This is why most of the time I use checklists in order to see how far I am with my preparations. Your checklist for paper 1 will be like, you can take a double page A4 and then you divide it into 4 in a table of 4. In a table of 4, and then obviously the first table will be on personal injury, then the second one will be on high court practice, third one match court practice, fourth one criminal court practice. That way you won't be spending 5 days, 6 days thinking that you are preparing for court procedures while you've just been studying high court practice. And then you go there, you thinking you are ready, you get to the exam, high court practice is only 20 marks out of 100. The rest you don't know, because you were not able to plan your work thoroughly. So for paper 1, there is 4 aspects. Personal injury is always mostly the first, and then high court and match court normally mixed in the question and in the way in which they will question, and then criminal court is also a different aspect. For personal injury, you need to know one thing: they don't always ask long questions. The longest question in personal injury can be 15 marks. Obviously we have new examiners, they can ask something new. That is why, as much as you do past papers, you don't solely rely on them. So when it comes to RAF, you need to know who is entitled to lodge a claim, the difference between general damages and special damages. You need to be able to identify the degree of evidence that is needed. You need to be able to know when does a claim prescribe. You must be able to identify or establish quantum and merit. You must be able to know what constitutes a WIP. You must be able to understand the procedure that happens when a person lodges a claim in terms of RAF. What are the remedies that are available to RAF, the settlement, defending, prescription, all those kind of things. You need to be able to know most of those things, in fact all of those things. But like I said, I'm not gonna be here to lecture. I'm just gonna give you guys a glimpse on how to prepare for your board exams. And then we go to high court practice. High court practice can come in different forms, and it can also be similar to match court practice, just the difference in rules. So you need to know your rules in these 2 aspects. But you must remember, you can get something around acts of insolvency. You can get something that will require you to draft a notice of motion and a affidavit. You might be required to differentiate between two types of insolvency, the procedure for appeal, and also we're going to come to the issue of draft. For merge court, you need to be able to know the types of summons that are there and under which circumstances is a particular summon relevant. You need to know what are the requirements for interdict. You need to know matrimonial issues, which you can also be asked in paper 3. Paper 1 and paper 3 are like twins, but not identical twins, like they're fraternal twins. Yes. Some things you may be preparing them for paper 1, you find them in paper 3. You prepare them for paper 3, you find them in paper 1. So always be careful about that. For criminal court practice, you could be asked to draft a plea of guilt, section 112 or section 115 plea. You could be asked to draft a application for bail, which the affidavit. You could be asked about disclosures, section 60 subsection 11b of the CPA. You could be asked about notice of appeal. Those are the most asked things. And then you could also be asked about when can charges be withdrawn, that procedure. But sometimes they make it easy and they just ask you, okay, after the state closes its case, or what happens next. Those kind of things. People that are already practicing won't have problems with those kind of questions. But obviously those are just those who are just at law school and have not practiced to a certain extent that they've participated in criminal trials. They won't be able to understand those questions. But in essence, know the difference between action proceedings and application proceedings. You must know what are the possible things that you could be required to draft, and make a list of all those things. Tick, you know how to draft summons. When it comes to summons, you must know at least how to draft summons for divorce, how to draft summons for a collision, how to draft rental interdict summons. You must also be able to know how to draft a notice of motion and affidavit. Notice of motion would always be a notice of motion, regardless of what the facts are saying. So if you understand what are the essentials of a notice of motion, no matter what facts they give you, no matter what purpose are you drafting the notice of motion for, you will always know, take notice that the applicant intends what. Simple like that. Without wasting your time, let's go to paper 2. Paper 2 is also one of the simplest exams, but it's very easy to fail paper 2. The reason why it's easy to fail paper 2 is that people waste time doing liquidation and distribution account to a point where time lapses and they haven't completed the theory questions, which could have given them enough marks to pass the board exams. My advice here will be, always start with theory questions. Don't spend more than 20 minutes on theory questions, so that you're gonna have enough time to do the liquidation and distribution account. If you can be able to do this during the 15 minutes of a reading time, write on your question paper the answers for your short questions. Or if you want to start with the L&D, during that 15 minutes reading period, do your L&D account. Tick uba this is going to Banban, this is going to Banban, this is going to Banban, so that by the time you're doing it, you're just inserting the things. You already know where they're going. This is part of the assets, this is going where, this is belongs to where, this is an expense, okay, this pension, yabo, beneficiary, what. Look at those things. Make sure that before you start drafting, before you start answering, you know what to put where. There are 4 acts that are relevant in paper 2, but most people are so misled to think that paper 2 is an L&D account. L&D account will be your 60 marks, and then the rest will be 40. So you still need those 40 marks because God forbid you're not going to get a total 100% on the L&D account. So it's important to know the L&D account, but do not disregard the other things. Know your Estate Duty Act, know your Wills Act, know your Administration of Estate Act, know your Interstate Succession Act. So with regards to will, know the validity of a will, how to draft a will. When you're drafting a will, you can draft a will for an individual person. You can draft a will for two people, mostly a couple, married couple. Know what happens when there is missing in the will or in the estate. You must know Section 2A of the Wills Act. You must be able to identify mistakes or errors, because sometimes they will give you a will that does not meet the requirements. So if you don't know the requirements, you will not know what is it that is lacking on that will. You understand? So you must know the structure of the will also when you have to draft a will, that you will start with the topic, the name of the person, the revocation clause, the nomination clause, the bequeathing clause, depending on the facts that you are given. So you must know all of those things. With regards to interstate, you need to know how the estate devolves, but you need to break it down. How will the estate devolve if they are stepchildren, if they are adopted children, if there are more than one spouse, there's more than one spouse, if they are illegitimate children. So you need to know if those people, will they be part, what entitlement do they have in the person's estate that you are devolving. You need to know the principle of naciteris fiction. This one you might not be asked about it directly, but they're gonna give you on the fact that so and so died while his girlfriend was pregnant with his child, and he leaves behind his wife and 3 children. Devolve the estate, and there you go. When the child is not born yet, you will only include the children that are born alive. No, you need to include the one that is not yet born, but you need to explain why you're including that child. Obviously, you will have to understand the naciteris fiction principle. And then the administration of estates. There are notes on the description below. There will be a link. The notes will tell you guys how the process is. It's like in steps. That can just come randomly as a 10-mark question. You must know what is the first step, what is the second step, when can a person open a bank account for the estate, when are the notices, Section 29 and Section 35, when are they required to be done, for how long, what is the duration, and for what purpose, inspection of an L&D account, what, those things. We need to also know the duties of the executor, the difference between the executor and a master's representative. You need to know all of that, guys. And yes, it's not normally asked in paper 2, like it won't. From the papers that I have seen, administration of estate aspects, it's never longer than 20 marks. So yeah, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't know it, because you never know what's gonna come out. For L&D, what you need to know, obviously by now you know how to do an L&D account, I believe so, but for purposes of marks, you must know the title. How do you write a full title for an L&D account? If a person is married in community of property, you include that in the title of the L&D account. You include the reference number, and then you do, for all your entries, you do a description. You describe the items fully, because you get marks for that. and estate duty. Estate duty can be asked in two ways. The first one, you will find it in the entire L&D account, where it is part of the L&D account. The second one, it could just be a 5-mark question. In the 5-mark question, you just need to know the formula and you'll be sorted. But in the L&D one, you need to understand section 4Q of the Estate Duty Act. That will tell you what are the things that you need to include there. And you also, with past papers, they can assist you, because sometimes you do this question paper, you get it right, you think I know estate duty, and then you do another question paper and it includes extra facts that you don't know how to deal with, and then you end up don't even want to mention it. But make sure that you practice estate duty from different question papers. That way you will know whether you know it or not. So you also need to do your structure for the L&D account. You must know what comes after what. Some people do make a mistake. They do a recapitulation statement before distribution. They do like income and expenditure just after assets. Guys, just don't mix it up. Make sure you don't mix it up. When it comes to this paper, the advice that I got when I was preparing for this paper, I wrote all 4 of them at once. I was told that, look, Inga, just pray, because you never know what's going to come out in this paper. So that's all that I can say to you guys as well. You just need to pray. Just pray. God will be with you. Otherwise, I did a checklist, which is basically, it can help you, maybe not, depends. I don't know, because now you've got like a couple of days before your exams, but this helped me know that the paper does not include only ethics, because people make a mistake of thinking that paper 3 is ethics. Paper 3 can be anything. You can find your figure questions on paper 3, contract law, family law, and all insolvency. You can find that on paper 3. So this is my checklist. It is available on the paper 3 folder. The link is on the description below. Paper 3, you need to know how to draft all these drafts that are listed here, because one of them will come out and it will be 15 or 20 marks. If 2 of them comes, they might be 20 marks, 20 marks, or 15 marks, 15 marks. Or maybe the other one 12, the other one 8, the other one 10. That means drafts in paper 3 contain a lot of marks that you don't want to lose. That if you get a deed of sale, you must be able to draft it. At least if it's out of 12, get 11. A partnership agreement, shortship agreement, acknowledgement of debt. All these drafts, you need to be able to know how to draft them. Option, right of preemption, sale of business clauses. There's a lot of them. These drafts are provided for you in Lerouk's study guide, that is also on the notes in the description below. The link is on the description below. I'm not gonna lie to you and say read those acts, all of them, because Trust Property Control Act, Labor Relations Act, all those acts, you don't necessarily need to read all of them, but you can check the syllabus. What is the syllabus saying? If the syllabus says that you must read section 15 of a Matrimonial Property Act, for example, go read that act. Make sure you know that section. Also, they have a tendency now of including labor law things on paper 3, so make sure you know at least something about retrenchments, something about dismissal for operational requirements, and a little bit of a definition of dismissal on account of misconduct, I'm not gonna go any further because once I start with labor law, it's gonna be labor law throughout. So let me just stop right there. You also need to know current affairs when it comes to ethics. You need to know a difference between touting and advertising. You need to be prepared to answer questions about contract law, insolvency, commercial law, mercantile law modules. You need to be able to understand Section 65 of Consumer Protection Act. You must know a bit of Companies Act, directors, duties of directors. Guys, you will never know what's going to come out in paper 3, and you can never be fully prepared. You just need to be able to wing it. So have a general understanding of almost everything. Paper 4, Sanelisiwe will give you guys a revision on that. So what I will have to do or tell you is very, very simple. Make sure you know the principles of FA2CA. Make sure that for each and every part of the paper, you know how can it be asked, because you're gonna do a bank recon for one paper or two papers and it's been asked the same way and you're gonna think you know it. If it comes in a different way, dololo, you can't. So make sure that you know that a bank recon can be asked at least in two ways. They can either give you a table, you identify the errors and you reconcile, or they will give you guys the facts and then you take that, you do the entries, you do a supplementary, and then you reconcile. FA2CA and theory questions. Theory questions are contained also in they are contained here. Theory questions for paper 4 are here. The link to this G drive is on the description below. Oh, sorry, it's loading. But yeah, this is where you will find your theory questions. Yes, these are your theory questions. You will find them here. What is VAT? Yes, you'll find them here. The link is on the description below. So you also need to know conveyancing. Conveyancing will always be conveyancing. There is nothing beyond that. There is nothing more. There is nothing less. You need to also understand that conveyancing can include VAT and investment. You need to know the two types of investments. When does LPC get a profit from investments? When does LPC get the 95%? When do they get 5%? Which section allows you to invest on behalf of your client without instructions? Which sections allows you to invest with instructions, and what are the consequences? Like if you invest with instructions, yes, 95% goes to your client, 5% to LPC. But if you invest without instructions, the rest of the profit will go to LPC. Those kind of things, they might be asked journals are normally 20 marks. They can be asked as theory, as in you have to answer through words. They can also be asked in terms of which you given facts and you need to do the journal entries. Journal entries can make up to 4 marks per entry. If you identify the type of a journal, if you correctly identify whether you credit or debit something, if you correctly insert the amounts and the total, and then you do a full description, you get your marks. Correspondence can be asked in 3 ways. First, you are instructing. Second, you are being instructed. Third, hey, do me a favor, do a 2008 question paper, do a 2018 question paper, do a 2020 November question paper. You will know then how the correspondence questions may be asked. Sometimes you're given a statement and then you need to do the entries. Sometimes you are the instructing attorney, you are instructed wara. Yeah, but Sanelisiwe will help you guys with that. Otherwise, that is it from me. If you have any questions regarding accounting, please make sure that you comment on the video that will be uploaded, which will be part 3 of the FA2CA. If you have questions regarding other papers, consult your ancestors. I'm joking. I'm joking. But yeah, you can give us a call, you can ask. I will obviously tell you if I remember. I will consult someone else if there's someone else that I know that will be able to assist you guys. Otherwise, that is it from my side. I was hoping this video would only be 20 minutes, but yeah, now it seems that it is over that. I wish you guys all the best. I wish you guys all the best. I hope that this video was to a certain extent helpful, because at the end of the day, like I initially said, I believe that at this point in time you guys have prepared for your board exams. I believe that you are ready for your board exams, but you just needed some, some people can study, but then some people cannot plan on how to study. They just study. Yeah, but we do things differently. If you need to vent at some point in time, like it's 2 a.m. and you feel like wapenika, you can give me a call. We'll shake you like crying session. Otherwise, yeah guys, please share the link, share the video. If it was helpful to you, click the like button. If you want us to do more, please recommend on the comment section. This is obviously our first time doing something of this nature. We're hoping that as time goes, maybe next year we'll be able to host formal classes and revision classes, and maybe do something that will be more beneficial to you guys and do it earlier other than a couple of days before board exams, because now revision classes or detailed lecturing classes would not really be useful, because at this time you guys probably know everything, yabo. So yeah, to those that haven't written some of the papers that we spoke about, I hope that you'll be able to adopt the strategy. And it's very important to always divide your work. That's how you will know you are making progress in your preparation. My name is Inga M. Thank you guys for watching. Please follow us on our social media platform: Twitter, Instagram, Uncaged Empire. And you can like our Facebook page, Uncaged Empire. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much.